With her tomboy charms and expressive face, Clara Bow took old Hollywood by storm. She was one of the most iconic it girls of her day. In fact, she practically invented the term. But sadly, the glitz and glamour of Tinseltown quickly turned sour, and the starlet suffered a downfall that was as tragic as it was legendary. How Clara Bow established a new female archetype and ended up a social outcast. Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. Clara Bow, Hollywood's first it girl. The tragic tale of Clara Bow, the original flapper girl who took Hollywood by storm. The troubled life of Clara Bow is legendary. Behind the vivacious and fun-loving persona of the it girl was an uneducated woman whose mad mother had tried to kill her and whose drunken and worthless father had most likely abused her. Her trusting nature and a lack of a support system that had her best interests at heart led her to be taken advantage of by friends, lovers, family and employers. Paramount Studios had notoriously overworked her and exploited the quintessential flapper in movie after movie, and, when she was worn out by life and frightened by the microphone, famously saw her as all washed up at aged 25. Her no-good father continued to mooch off of her until his death, and lovers used her to get their names in the papers. Actress Clara Bow was the inimitable it girl of the Roaring Twenties, the epitome of the flapper girl. Her gold-studded career spanned over 57 films, in just under a decade before vanishing the scene at just 28, and she managed to make the near-impossible shift from silent film to talkies. But Clara Bow's story was one built on a tragic past, and one that she could not reconcile with her life in the limelight. Clara Bow doesn't look like a relic, she doesn't look like she belongs in the 20s, or even in black and white. She looks nothing like the other stars of the silent era, who either seemed frozen in puberty, Mary Pickford, Lillian Gish, outrageously exotic, Theda Bara, Pola Negri, or untouchably glamorous, Gloria Swanson. This girl's got something like whoa. Her charm and energy made her the ultimate flapper, but despite her success, Bow would forever be snubbed by the industry's in crowd. Billy Wilder once referred to as flesh impact, a rare quality shared only with the likes of Jean Harlow, Rita Hayworth and Marilyn Monroe. Flesh impact meant having flesh which photographs like flesh, flesh you felt you could reach out and touch. In other words, flesh with which you would very much like to have sex. That desire made Clara Bow a star, but would also make it easy to tell outrageous stories about her, and for people to believe those outrageous stories. Like so many stars from the silent era, Bow started from nothing. She was born on July 29, 1905, to Robert and Sarah Bow in Prospect Heights, New York. Little Clara came into the world in a bleak, sparsely furnished room above a dilapidated Baptist church, and these very humble beginnings were about to turn into an absolute nightmare. Bow was born into tragedy. Though she was her mother's third daughter, Sarah had lost her two eldest children when they were babies, and doctors begged her not to get pregnant again or have another child for fear that this infant would perish too. Sarah didn't listen, and the conditions of Clara's birth couldn't have been worse. When Clara was born, New York was in the middle of a ravaging heat wave, with temperatures rising over a punishing 100 degrees. This had devastating consequences. Both Clara and her mother nearly didn't make it, and Bow later recalled how the two of them looked death in the face that day. Clara soon got to know the most brutal poverty that was known at the time. Stuck in a tenement slum with an abusive father and a violent, mentally unstable mother, she sent her photograph to a Fame and Fortune magazine competition when she was 16 and duly won the top prize. She won a star-making contest in the early 20s, where the judge declared that she screens perfectly. Bow didn't get a movie contract. There was always something, Bow recalled. I was too young, or too little, or too fat. Usually I was too fat. Soon she was appearing in films in New York and then Hollywood, working day and night until she became a superstar. Small roles snowballed into bigger ones, and she eventually found herself under contract to Paramount, which refined her image as the quintessential woman of the era, the flapper. In 1925 alone she made 15 films. Judith Mackrell, the author of Flappers, 6 Women of a Dangerous Generation, sees Bow's route to stardom as one of the many elements that made her so emblematic of the 1920s. In any other era she would have ended up on the streets or in a factory, but the existence of cinema as a mass industry gave her the chance to reinvent her life. The 1920s actress became a new kind of down-to-earth Hollywood idol. Her film It established a female archetype that's still with us. Her on-screen persona was just as cutting-edge. America fell in love with Bow because of her big-eyed, baby-faced beauty, but also because she was carefree, energetic, self-assured, and breezily independent. Her allure wasn't about being darkly seductive or haughtily elegant, but about being comfortable in her own skin. Sporting short hair and short dresses, she would stride out and grab whatever and whomever she wanted. She was the archetypal modern woman. She embodied the flapper girl. For the hundreds of thousands of women going to the cinema every week, she was a role model. Before that time, those role models wouldn't have been available, but cinema gave a huge critical mass of women a notion of themselves as liberated. Working-class Americans felt that Bow was one of them, partly because her screen acting had a naturalism that hadn't been seen before. While other stars of the 1920s can appear mannered and melodramatic to 21st century eyes, Bow always comes across as a lively, unaffected goofball, the girl next door who is also one of the guys. She really came alive in front of the camera. When you watch her, you feel as if she's doing something very spontaneous for you, so you're having a relationship with her. That may be an illusion, but it's a very powerful one. Bow's hard work would pay off. In a few years' time she managed to land a contract with Paramount Pictures for parts in silent films. In 1927, Clara Bow starred in the career-defining movie It. In the romantic comedy, a store owner searches for a woman with self-confidence and irresistible sex appeal. Eleanor Glynn, the author of the magazine article that inspired the movie, described it, or that irresistible charm, as self-confidence and indifference as to whether you are pleasing or not, and something in you that gives the impression that you are not at all cold. Bow certainly embodied that kind of it. Her audiences agreed. Her fan mail was addressed to Miss It California and the It Girl. During the silent film era, Bow worked tirelessly. She made 15 films in 1925, the same year that she turned 20, and she would star in the first film to win the Academy Award for Best Picture, Wings. But just playing the flapper girl, though, was not enough for Bow. I want to be known as a serious actress, and not as an it girl, she insisted. In Hollywood, Bow found herself to be a social outcast. To the more glamorous, pseudo-aristocratic stars, Bow was just a poor kid without class. Even the way she spoke separated her from the other stars, and gave more pretentious celebs reason to think she was lowlier. The actress talked openly about her broken engagements, gambling, and other taboo activities. When Paramount offered her a contract, Bow negotiated to leave out the morals clause. Bow flamed out fast, embroiled in several scandals that would earn her the nickname Crisis a Day Clara. The causes were straightforward. Clara liked boys. She was also one of its most provocative, with scandals always swirling about her. Her parade of lovers was legendary. She had 4 fiancés, Gilbert Rowland, Victor Fleming, Harry Richmond, and eventual hubby Rex Bell, as well as affairs with Gary Cooper, a married doctor whose wife named her as the other woman in a divorce case, and maybe Bela Lugosi, who kept a sensual portrait of Clara until his death, and her devil-may-care attitude shocked many of Hollywood's elite. After 5 broken engagements in 5 years, Bow had built a reputation for scandal. She was known as the woman who loved drinking, gambling, swearing, and screwing. Clara had a problem with money. Bow came from a family with little to nothing. She had an exploitative father, poor management, and not a ton of training on how to manage her finances. She was no Gloria Swanson with the solid gold bathtub, but she did have a gambling problem, which came to light in a government investigation. Clara didn't play by the rules. 1920s Hollywood was trying really hard to prove that it had the same sort of class as New York. After a series of scandals and concerted clean-up efforts in the early 1920s, the image rehabilitation program seemed to be working, but Bow, by refusing to dispose of her attitude and accent, was the embodiment of all that was new money and trashy about Hollywood. She was gorgeous, sure, but she was gauche and an embarrassment. She wasn't invited to Who's Who parties in Hollywood, so she made her own, which were probably much more awesome. Do you want to go to the stuffy, classy party, or the one with the football players dancing and flesh impact? She was the beautiful, beguiling new girl in your circle of friends, who you want to like, but who threatens the integrity of the group, so you exclude her. As a result, Hollywood stars, reporters and others intent on preserving a specific image of the movie colony had little compunction tarnishing Bow's image or keeping silent with the rumours started. Bow made a few more films with Fox, but her career was over. Even a film lampooning the rumours about her, Call Her Savage, which featured Bow wrestling with a very large and virile Great Dane, couldn't resurrect her career. By 1932, with the nation deeply mired in the Depression, the joy in consumption Bow had embodied, and that had resonated so profoundly, seemed excessive. At 28 years old, Clara Bow filmed her final movie and retired from Hollywood altogether. Girls wanted to be her, boys wanted to date her, and old people thought she was a sign of the apocalypse, which obviously meant she was star material. Bow became a hugely popular actor and, in tabloid speak, a notorious wild child. On screen she epitomised the joie de vivre and permissiveness of the jazz age, and for many people she remains the ultimate flapper, the it girl, with charm and sex appeal to spare. Bow slipped from stardom, retreated, married a seemingly nice man, had some children, battled depression, and lived in relative obscurity for the next 3 decades. By 1930, Clara was worn out. Tired of the merry-go-round of lovers, the callousness of her studio, and scared to death of sound films, Clara thought she had found one stroke of good luck when a handsome cowboy star, Rex Bell, entered her life. So Bow retired to a Nevada cattle ranch with her husband, Rex Bell, and avoided Hollywood for the rest of her life. She died at 60 after having had 2 sons and a quiet life. She died in 1965, purportedly while watching an old Gary Cooper western. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Now it is your turn. What do you think about the life and legacy of Clara Bow? Flappers emerged in the 1920s in part as a reaction to prohibition and quickly became emblematic of the so-called jazz age, and Clara Bow